Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having an incredible day. We are starting day 5 of our challenge. And so today we're going to be taking a look at the Lower Dantian. What is the Dantian about, and why is it so important in our alchemical process? Hi, everyone. Welcome, Jason. Hello, Siobhan. Love, love, love. So great to see you. Can you guys hear me now? Hi, sweet G, says Christine. So great to see you. Audio's okay now. Okay, good, good. Nikki, Jewel, so wonderful to see you. Guys, we are on day 5. We are just moving through this challenge pretty quickly. And I'm so excited. I really love the feedback that I've been getting about the challenge. I love that you guys are really liking the information that I'm sharing here. And I like that it's productive and it supports you in your journey. And I want to make sure that everything that we're doing is in alignment and supportive of where we're at. So I want you guys to ask questions and engage, and let me know if you guys have any questions about some of the stuff that we're doing. I'm going to open up yesterday's stream really quickly just to see. I know that there were some questions at the end of our live stream yesterday, and I want to make sure that I answer your questions. I don't want to miss a thing. Um, we had to stop pretty quickly yesterday. So great to see you, Doug. Hello, Susan Z, Miss Anonymous. Wonderful to see you. Thank you very much. It is such an honor to be here with you guys. It really is to me. And this is really a pleasure to share this information with you. So let me come over here and okay, I'm gonna start with a couple. Whoops. I'm going to start with a couple questions from yesterday that came up that I missed, that were very interesting questions that I think will help many people, um, you know, answer. Okay, so Scott Pierce asked the question, can DNA reprogramming help with the physical heal of organs within the endocrine system? Thank you, Geraldine. Yes, DNA reprogramming does. Now, how we heal in the physical body is very much layers. Illness is a result of storage or the inverted use and misunderstanding of how to use our life force. And life force essentially is the vital life force that we allow to move through the body in a way that it's not constricted, blocked, or suppressed. And what is life force? It has many ways of manifesting in the physical body. It has, as well as dualistic expression in the physical body in the form of actions and also vibrational words, what we're speaking, what we're saying, what we're doing, what we're thinking, all of these expressions that are created from the human, whether it's action, thought, physical and non-physical, are expressions from the human. This is what the human brings into life, into this human experience. So all of that is the exchange that the human vessel is having in its environment. And therefore, that is the exchange of life force. It's how we are utilizing our life force. Every thought is an allocation. It's a vibrational, it's the birth of a vibrational frequency embedded within a thought form. And that creates a vibrational frequency in our space. So being mindful of your thoughts, of your intentions, of your subconscious is incredibly important, because how we create our reality is from the subconscious mind. So now, what happens when we have prolonged traumas and perceptions that are limiting? The child from the womb until the age of 7 is forming all of its perceptions about life, and how it's going to live life, participate in this life experience. And when those perceptions are rooted in fear, self-mistrust, imbalanced belief systems, insecurities, doubts, and feelings of danger, the immediate response is for the body to come into survival. So that survival mechanism is a series of both biochemical and electrical triggers in the physical body that begin to bring the body out of balance. over time. Okay. And that out of balance is what creates the perfect environment for illness and stagnation in the body. So, what we need to do in order to heal that, how do we heal illnesses in the endocrine system, in any part of the body, really, because the process is the same? It's to understand the patterns of emotions and triggers that feed into these illnesses in the body. And I'm very proactive in actively experiencing and exploring these healing abilities with myself. And whenever I come down with something or get sick, I immediately apply these things and explore different ways of utilizing them. And time again, I prove to myself and to people that I work with that we're able to heal. And when the emotions come into a state of balance, it's that emotional energy, it's the exchange energy that the human gives off with the world that creates the environment for health. And the quickest way to access that is by understanding the emotions that trigger us, why we have triggers, because triggers create chain reaction in the body. And that chain reaction causes inflammation, which causes imbalance, and again, the illnesses in the body. So we need to understand the root. What's the trigger? What's the emotion? There's an emotional pattern. And what's the belief that leads into that emotional pattern? And when you get into that root belief, you want to have a conversation with yourself to see if that belief is something that is constructive or destructive for you. Is it creative or counter creative for you? And you will go through a process of identifying where that belief came from. And as you begin to review this, and this all happens very quickly through the emotional bodies, and the emotional memory that is stored within the pain, the actual discomfort of what you're dealing with in that moment. It could be a cold, a flu, it could be a broken arm, it could be an illness that you're dealing with. When you sit with that pain, it is that pain that is encoded with information, memory information that led into that experience. There isn't a single experience in your life that isn't a result of cause and effect. So this is important. If you understand the cycles of cause and effect, you understand that there are things that we have done to contribute to end result in these experiences. It's what we call the law of accident. We've touched that a couple times, that when we're in unconscious states or sleeping in dormant hypnotic state, we are completely out of the state of co-creation and in a place of repetition. And that repetition leads us into shock moments where the soul is woken up. This is also true for souls that are incarnating into traumatic family bloodlines. They come very fresh with a knowing of their highest expression. And when we come into this world of separation and experience that separation in many different ways, it creates a tremendous disconnect and disassociation with what we truly at our core recognize to be true, which is unity. And in today's conversation, actually, about the Dantian, we're going to be talking about all the different ways that the body needs to find unity in order to maintain health in the physical body. It is that internal unification, it is that internal integration that actually provides the environment of that 0 point in which we begin to activate higher healing opportunities. So this is what we want to learn, and what DNA reprogramming focuses on is on accessing those root causes so that we can begin to heal from the subconscious outward. And you, out of one session, you will notice, excuse me, that when you begin to experience the triggers in your everyday life, you will begin to remember the session, because we go deeply into the roots of these emotions. And it'll be very difficult for you to fall back in that pattern, because in a session we create substantial evidence and a new rewiring for why this belief system is counter creative, and you understand it in many different ways, multidimensionally. So it really is a reprogramming of your body, energetically, emotionally, and physically. And what that does is that creates a new memory, a reference memory for yourself. Over time, when we replace limiting beliefs and false inversions of truth with a more united and integrated database of information and support, your body will revert back to that and embody it as truth. Essentially, it becomes your new truth. And so this allows for an incredible healing. Yeah, so let's go see what other questions do we have. Okay, so yeah, there were a lot of like personal questions about some intimate things that I can't go into. But somebody asked a question about past lives and the influence about past lives. And that is a very important topic that we're not going to really discuss too much in this series, but we will talk about perhaps in the next series. The influence that past lives, which are not past lives, they're simultaneous, I guess you can call them iterations of ourselves that exists in simultaneously that we have access to. And those are allowing us to connect to that information. Okay. All right. So let me come over here to our chat today and see if we have any questions in our chat. Hello, Marilena. Hello, Jason. Greg says, anyone know where she's posting the homework and meditations? Yeah. So all of the homework and meditations is located on the website. And I think I showed it the other day, but let me do it again. I know some people are having trouble accessing that. So let's get you guys in there. So you guys know what it looks like here. I'm going to go ahead and open another window here. And I'm going to go to my website. Let's see if I can find my website. Yeah. So if we go here to the website, you're going to go under courses. And you can log in first. It's easier to log in, but you can go into courses, and you're going to go under courses and programs, or under challenges. I'm sorry. And under challenges, you're going to go to the 30-day Alchemical Transformation 2023. It's the very first one there. You're going to click view. It's free. These other classes down here are for paid programs. They are 4 to 6 week programs and training courses that are available here through courses and programs that you can sign up to. But this is the challenge. Now, because I'm logged in, I have access immediately to the 30-day Alchemical Transformation. So right here on the left side, you're going to have a calendar of all the days. Here's an overview of what we're doing. When you're first signing up to this, it's going to say join or participate. You're going to click join here. Or if you're continuing, you're going to go to current step. And so this is going here to the last one, that's today. So this is all the material that I'm loading here for you to review. You can study, you can see it. And over here will show up the replay. And let me show you what that actually looks like. Let's see, let's look at December 4th, for example. On Sunday, here was last Sunday's Violet Light. Here's the replay of the class and supportive practices and exercises, as well as the slides. Okay, so all of it is available to you right there, so you guys can check out. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Please make sure that when you guys are joining, that you add me to your safe sender list, because if you don't, you won't be able to receive the confirmation code to join me. Okay, so Greg, that's how we can do it. Yeah. So Marilena is asking a question that says, is this practice what brings us to Christ? Connectedness? Is this what is Christmas? Which is what is Christmas? Yeah, so I guess the idea of coming into this Christ consciousness is essentially an example of how we can access our illumination, our highest illuminated, most integrated whole self. And we reach that integrated whole self through this transmutation and through this alchemical process of going from the lowest to the highest point of our expression. And we reach the highest point of our expression, highest vibrational frequency, by integrating the parts of ourselves that were created through trauma and through the experience of being in the three-dimensional physical realm. That is what this life experience is really mostly about, is to exercise and to learn to that experience of transmutation through the examples of your everyday life experiences, perceptions, emotions, the way you see yourself, the way you see the world, and from there beginning to create a really powerful shift. And so it's when we begin to deprogram all of the programs of separation that the matrix provides the experience of back to unity. It is a cycle, one of infinite cycles of experience that we as a collective organism have the opportunity of experiencing. The three-dimensional plane is a cycle of experiencing separation through the many facets and the many ranges and expressions of separation. So the more advanced the soul is, let's say as many times that you've experienced this experience of separation, the more you will understand unity. And sometimes it'll be hard to get to that unity. You will have to heal a lot of profound parts in order to reach that. So that would be the integrated self. And that is when we reach that, I guess, Christic state, or that highest aspect. Jay Zen, do the homework. You're going to get there. Okay. Interesting, the DNA helix on the website header resemble the wings of Isis. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Darina. Been going through the information along in website. Thanks, Geraldine. Thank you, Pamela Rose. How do we connect with the others in the 30-day challenge? I'm not sure that there's a ability to connect with others, love, in this challenge, but please do connect here in the chat. That would be wonderful. If you become a member of the website on Self-Love Sundays, you can join in the Zoom, and that would be a really great place to have a little get together and get to know each other as well. Okay. Deborah Korzik, Christ consciousness is experiencing and learning truth of who we really are and what we can actually do. Losing ego. Yes. Tony Jovanovsky. Hello, Geraldine. Tony from Holland. So great to see you, Tony. Welcome. Do we have access to the challenge materials even after the 30 days? Yes, you do. You have unlimited access to that. You can access it at any time. Sincere and deepest gratitude. Thank you, Geraldine. These alchemy practices are so deep and profound. Do you recommend a journal to keep track of all the emotions and experiences? Yes, I do. And actually, I mentioned, I think it was in the one that we did, I think day 3, where we talked about the review of our day. Really important to have a journal so that you can begin to notice again throughout your day when you go back into a dormant state and help yourself come back into consciousness. So that would be a very good practice to have. Use whatever tools you need to help yourself come back into consciousness. Okay. All right, guys. So let's get started on today's topic. Today, we're going to talk about the Dantian, the lower Dantian. And the lower Dantian essentially is, well, the body in itself is split up in 3 main sections. It's, again, that self-organization and the representation of as above, so below, the non-physical and the physical, and that which connects the two. Okay, so the three dimensions that we are in right now, we express that within the physical body in itself, has an expression of those 3 dimensions. And so in our physical body, it is also split up in this way. Let me show you how. Okay, so the physical body, essentially, we have the 3 main centers of life force, and it's within these, the cultivation of life force is the different ranges of life force that are available in the body. The lowest house with the root, sacral, and solar chakra Okay, so over here, we're just showing the Dantians, which is the collection of the 3 main chakras. Okay, so the lower Dantian is made up of the root, the sacral, and the solar. So the root chakra, as you know, those of you that have studied, your chakra charts and understand the chakras from your own emotional work, the root chakra is the most primal aspect of ourselves. And we're going to refer to this creator chart so that we can really close the loop in understanding what it means in the physical body to embody these states of consciousness. When our root chakra is wide open, we are primarily in one of these 3. Each one of these 3 creator states is essentially helping us understand the houses of the first 3 chakras and the areas in which they dominate. It's all about the separation and experiencing separation. So the lowest, most primal state in the root chakra is the one that completely has the concept of unity of consciousness completely absent. The power of the person that is operating from the first chakra, the root chakra, is complete disempowerment. The idea that the power and the saving, the protection, power, support, love, all comes from the external world. When we have that deeply programmed within us, we are living in absolute separation from ourselves, and we become extremely dependent and codependent on others or the other, any other, whatever that is, people, places, and things. So this causes in the physical body, in our DNA, and as an expression of this pure consciousness, it creates a disassociation, because the child that is born, that comes into this world, inherently feels a connection to its source, because it just came from that divinity. It just came from that pure connection. So it begins to experience separation, as I mentioned yesterday, through the process of birth, which is very traumatic, and continues to solidify in many different ways the experience of separation through the relationship with parents, events, activities that the child is experiencing. And up until the age of 7, these concepts and perceptions of separation are heavily rooted. So we hold all of that memory within our body, and the seat of those, the root of those emotions is in the most primal state of fear, and the programs around feeling unsafe in this body, unsafe in our environment, unsafe in with our own thoughts, a complete disconnect and mistrust in ourselves, and always externalizing that power. And so what happens is, this is the most primal state, becomes a very parasitic exchange with everything, with yourself and with others. So in this state, you can be absolutely in effect. Things are happening to you. Things are done to you. And we have no sense of self-empowerment at all. So this causes a lot of suffering when we are in this operational state. Okay. So let's go up to the sacral chakra, really important. We're in a state of the relationships that we have. The sacral chakra is the most important to dominate for the human, because the sacral chakra and the root, both of them, for men, it's the root, the primary sexual organs, and for the female, it's the womb, the uterus, and of course, bringing life, bringing human life, creating the third into the physical. And these energies, when these 2 energies unite, they create a most incredible explosion of life force that creates the seed in which the soul can attach to the physical. Can you imagine that amount of power that the human has within them in order to create that? So this potent life force, when misused, the ingredients to create life are misused, it becomes draining for the human. The human generates this sexual energy, this life force energy, and when it's depleted or discharged, it's called in an orgasmic state, for example. In French, it's called le petit mort, which means the death, right? It's a little instant death. When we have that orgasmic state, it is an intense discharge of life force, and usually the person will feel very tired, and usually it's the man that feels very tired. And we'll talk about that in just a moment, because there's an entire dynamic to that. But essentially, the second house is about how we are exchanging with others. What is the exchange rate? In intimacy, partnerships, in family relationships, people that we meet on the street, everything that we are interacting, the act of interacting is always an exchange. It is also beginning to look at how we are feeling about ourselves in front of others. So there's a lot of competition, punishment, judgment is the primary house of this second. Okay, the life force is about judgment. So what happens when we're operating in the state of constant judgment? And judgment, when it comes to the energetics of the body, judgment is one of the most depleting activities for the human. Because when we judge something, or when we apply meaning to something, there's an entire energetic and emotional process that takes place behind that. There is an entanglement process. There is a creation of new timelines, new potential timelines that emerge from the meaning that we create and we place on things, and the judgment that we put on things. And there is a merging of your energetic field with the other that create contractual agreements for experience. So it's really huge. It's really huge when we are in this judgment state. And this is the primary way of entanglement into this physical realm, which the consciousness of the parasitic aspect of the matrix understands very deeply, and manipulates and utilizes in marketing, utilizes in manipulation tactics in order to distract the human from its internal integration, and to invert the divine essence of creation. So, we have possessive competitiveness, of course, as a result, but more importantly than that, this is the seat of judgment. It's important to remember that. And it's where our life force becomes depleted. So the third is a center of self-empowerment, okay? And this third chakra, when it is out of balance, it creates an imbalance in the entire system. Because again, let's go back to this chart. When these three chakras come into full integration, they come into full balance. We learned in this channel, working with me, how to open and close and control your chakras. That's good, but it's one step. The deeper step, the deeper work, is the subconscious shifts that occur as a result of understanding how to manage your life force and where you're allocating that life force. Your life force is depleted in the body through the emotions, expressions, actions, the creative expressions of the human. Okay, so that's why what we do in our forms of actions is incredibly important. This is the seat of empowerment. What we're doing, whether we want to get up and do it, whether we don't want to get up and do it, will all depend on the emotional balances of these first two chakras. And those that are highly active in their solar plexus end up really mastering the matrix, because they're able to generate themselves into higher functioning emotionally, so that they can accumulate, wealth, and they play the game of the matrix in this dynamic of the money exchange. So all of these, so these three are the primary areas of how we are exchanging with our physical world, how we feel at home in our physical bodies, how we exchange with those outside of us, and the empowerment of our actions and how we're taking action. So all of these, as a result of trauma in our lives, will create the foundation with how much and how you are processing life force through your body. If we have contracted root chakra, suppressed emotions that haven't been dealt with from these three areas, your life force is not moving through your body, and it's very difficult to have an integration of the higher self. Many people ask me, why can I not connect with my higher self? I want to have a deeper relationship with my higher self, and I want to be able to connect with my higher self. Well, we can't do that unless we integrate these first three chakras. We balance, we begin to work with how we are exchanging um, everything that we're doing. And that requires mindfulness and presence. Okay, so when we come into the present moment, GPAC, grounding, protecting, aligning, co-creating, we begin to kind of become mindful of where our thoughts, our spoken word, which is vibrational creation, and actions are taking place in this realm. It's completely essential. So check in with your chakras. Let's do it right now. Everybody that's on the call right now, which one of your chakras is most active right now? Check your chakras from the root up into your third eye, and focus on the root, on the first three chakras, which one of them are out of balance. And remember that we are looking at the chakra front and back. Okay, so as you begin to notice the chakras, this picture doesn't have the back of my chakras, but you're going to see the exact same opening of the vortex to the back. Okay, so remember, yesterday we were talking about the nervous system and the meridian lines. If your root chakra is very contracted instead of expansive, your nervous system is also operating in that same direction. Okay, so you're not allowing that life force to move in. And this is how illnesses develop in the body. There isn't a flow of life force. So the integration and the balancing of those three houses of perception will either define the mastery of your physical experience in this realm, or the counter creation and destruction of your physical over time. So it is this called, the Dantian is called the seat of life, or the accumulation. It's like the ball of energy, the ball of life force, okay, that becomes accumulated in how we are generating and how we are exchanging these life forces, creative life forces, speaking, thinking, doing. So when these come into alignment, now we are no longer just releasing life force, wasting, spreading, doing, most of the cords in the body that we see in people when we're doing healing work, it's usually connected here to the first three chakras. And I will also mention that a lot of our interdimensional, parasitic interdimensional contact also stems from these same root imbalances. And these are generational, they are ancestral, and they are generational. So if in our bloodline, we have influences of a lot of imbalanced feminine and masculine energy, okay, expressions of the feminine and masculine, wounded feminine, wounded masculine, those are perfect environment for parasitic entanglement, parasitic experiences. So we will have lower forms of interaction in interdimensional realms. So we can attract everything from reptilian kind of consciousness to draconian, or any kind of any being that is parasitic and will interact with us at an early age because it is inherited. These programs are deeply inherited. If we come into a family of profound suffering, and those agreements are made interdimensionally. So this is why the rebalancing of these houses is completely essential to our navigation, both in the physical and when we are in astral projection. Because when we leave the body, when we're in dream time, and we begin to dive into the higher realms, into the 8, 9, 10, 12 dimensional realms, we can only go as far as this physical vessel has transmuted its own blockages. That's why this healing is so important. And of course, we train to do that for death. So this lower Dantian essentially is interconnected with parts of the body, these main meridian lines. Here are the meridian lines in the body. And these are the main meridian lines. Okay, so these main meridian lines are interconnected with organs. Okay, the organs of the body. So we'll notice that the primary function, they call the stomach and the intestines the second brain. This the biome, because when we have parasites in the biome, it kind of overrides a lot of our other directives in the physical body that are both emotional, hormonal, and can really manipulate the way we feel, take us into profound depression, helplessness, disconnect, illnesses, gaining weight because of wanting to be addicted to sugars. All of these things, again, they are external. And what happens is that the body is deeply programmed to be in a state of satiating the desires, the imbalanced desires of the senses. Okay, so when we have these first three chakras deeply contracted and not flowing life force properly, in a state of dormant sleep and lack of awareness, we are inhibiting the life force and the proper runway of life force into these organs. So you're gonna, and the side of the body, right, left, as we talked about, these planes of the body will define where you are accumulating these thought forms. So if it's the left side of the body, again, it's the feminine. If it's the right, it's the masculine. If it's the front, masculine, back, feminine. So all of those help you understand how you are balancing these perceptions. And it comes down to how we are balancing duality. Because remember that in this human experience, we're here to alchemize these programs of separation into unity. How does one do that? In order to create the third, there has to be balance with the two dualistic expressions. The dualities are feminine and masculine energies, and when one is wounded, it comes out of balance. And usually the other will overcompensate. So I want you to get really familiar with understanding these feminine and masculine dualities, because this is something that really helped me understand emotions in a deeper way, in a way that helped me heal long-term programs of suffering. If you feel you can't heal over long terms of time, it's because you're not understanding the imbalanced impact of that in your body. What we are as a result of our wounding creates the kind of personalities and choices that we do in our lifetime. Okay, so concepts of fear, concepts of aggression can be inversions of balanced strength. Okay, get familiar with how this functions, because this is the key to the balancing of these lower dantians. So now let's talk a little bit about, now that we understand those runway systems of energy in the lower dantian, if we don't, this is called the seat of empowerment, because once you have these three chakras in order, now you're really coming online to play with your higher functions. Okay, when you have, because it requires you to balance emotions, emotional mastery, and awareness. So once you have that, 90% of your life force begins to become balanced in the body. And the depletion rate, I want you to pay attention to the rate of life force that you're depleting throughout your day. This is the second part to the exercise that we did a couple days ago, reviewing your day, noticing how many times you were unconscious, how many times you're conscious. Well, this is the thing that when you do that review, and you're exhausted at the end of the day because you were swayed by emotions left and right. Someone said this, there was a notification about some issue, world problem that happened outside. It triggers feeling of anger, feelings of helplessness. We want to change the world. We want love in the world. And yet we embody so much anger and frustration. We are contributing, and we are also feeding and being fed by that parasitic system. So we need to really counter that entanglement. And that's one example. We can do that in our own self by looking in the mirror, judging yourself. You don't love yourself. Okay, so all of a sudden you have judgment, insecurities, doubts, angers, resentments. That's the cycles that we're running that deplete life force. And in this universe that is a universe of exchange of life force, there is always something around a consciousness in a parasitic form that we manifest in our body in order to feed off of these negative thought forms. We feed them because they are our parasites, and we cultivate these parasites over a lifetime. So to break these patterns requires courage in the unknown, and the unknown for us is going to be unconditional self-love. Okay, so it's really about cultivation of absolute truth and awareness of yourself, and through that building self-trust. This is the cultivation of the lower dantian. The practices to access the lower dantian now. And now let's talk about the practical physical side of it. We have the muscles in the lower back of the body. Let me see if I have some organ. Oh, here we go. Some organ charts. Here we go. So the muscles in the lower back of the body, called the psoas, run all the way from the lower spine all the way down into the hips here, in the pelvic bones. And the psoas, when we massage them internally by rotating the body and massaging the internal lower organs, we help release. For those of you that have a hard time releasing emotions, you help release stagnant emotions that are stored within the body. And this is a good way for you to begin to train that mind-body connection, emotion-physical connection, and release any stagnation in the lower body. So this practice is going to be inside of our homework page. You can utilize your hand over your lower belly, where all of these organs are in the lower dantian, and your dominant hand with which you write with will be on top, and you're going to utilize that to kind of create a rotation mode, massaging the organs. But it's not so simple as just simply pressing and turning in and massaging the muscles or the external belly. We want to create a rotation with our entire body that makes the internal muscles, because the muscles are what line our organs, and the muscles are what actually will move the organs and massage them to move life force that's stagnant there. So we are literally going to use our intention in our mind, connecting with the psoas in the back, to allow a rotation form. You're going to rotate it. Just imagine rotating that lower muscle to allow yourself to begin to massage the internal organs. Now, for many people that do this exercise, you may release strong emotions and strong memories. So this is where DNA reprogramming is a powerful tool that you can utilize. And you can access any of the videos that I have on my channel under emotional mastery, or other challenges that I did, which access releasing strong emotions, that will allow you to, when those emotions come up, to work with them. Most important, sit, observe, and get to the root of those emotions. Okay, so as you begin to rotate that, you're beginning to release the tension in these lower forms, and there is a breathing that is also involved in this massage, that as you breathe in through your nostril into the lower down to the belly, I mean you're breathing to the base of your lungs, you're going to push down and breathe into that lower dantian in order to expand. Ideally, we want to learn how to breathe out of our belly. from our nose into our belly, not the mouth, to allow for deep breathing, calm breathing that enters into the entire body. And it is important that we practice this breath, this mindful breath, to help regulate the nervous system of the body. This makes it a lot easier for you to manage these areas. So this breathing allows you to begin to move the stagnation in the body. Okay. And as a result, what ends up happening is that we start to move these in the etheric layer of your body. So I'm telling you what's happening emotionally, psychologically, and we went into the physical. Now we're going to talk about what happens in the etheric body when we do that. When we cultivate these exercises of breathing and moving and accessing the programs and beliefs in the lower three chakras, we begin to clear up the low density blockages that stagnate the move of your vortex. Okay, so your vortex, in order for this vortex to be spinning, we need to have no obstructions. The obstructions are sluggish blockages in your energetic field that don't allow the life force to move. So hold on a minute, let me open something to show you here, because I have a picture of that might be a lot easier to visualize. Okay, let me just grab that for you. And you guys have seen this image before. Okay, so essentially the debris, the longer those programs of suffering, helplessness, and separation have been in the physical body, the more dense they are until they crystallize into the actual physical body, into the organs as pain, as illnesses, and all those other imbalances in the body. So, you know, it's from the inside out. So the deepest crystallization of low thought forms is physical illness, literally affecting the function of the body, the proper function and balance. It's completely out of balance. Now, the next level is causing problems with, like, problems that, you know, you have in your body, but you can cope with. Okay, and none of this is health. But let's say, you know, you have some digestive problems. Okay, so it's crystallized, but not 100%. So that's already in the physical body. And the levels of crystallization don't mean that it's harder to dissolve. It's your thought. It's your mind over the thought, mind over the programming that will depend on your well-being. So whether the crystallization is very light or very, very heavy, your mind can dissolve them. It's a matter of deprogramming these belief systems. So as you work with these belief systems in dissolving them, and I mentioned there are two ways to clear these blockages. One of them is energetic. So you literally look at the part of the body, feel the pain, visualize the pain as a form, as an object, give it a shape. It will show you its shape. It can be some random object, or it can look like a cloud, like this example here. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm not even showing you the right picture. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my loves. Let me take you there. Here you go. Now you know what I'm talking about. Now you know what I'm talking about. Okay, yeah, I'm sure this makes a lot more sense now. Okay, so the debris here, the level of crystallization of the debris is how long we've been holding on to the beliefs and how difficult it is for us to release those beliefs. A belief can be dissolved instantaneously, just like we can go into instantaneous healing. Okay. And the crystallization of these blockages in the body, the lighter they are, the further away in the field they are. The more dense they are in your body, the closer they are to your body. But it doesn't mean that it's less difficult to dissolve. because it depends on your belief. Okay, but the field in itself, because remember, we are made up of the chakras that make up the layers. So the longer we hold within the body the thought form, the more crystallized it becomes, which means the more denser the wave form of that thought becomes. And the lighter, the more farther away it'll be. So many times I have clients that have illnesses that have very thick cords in which this thought form that is stuck in the body has its root in, let's say, the 10th, 11th, 14th dimensional plane. So when we look in the 14th field of the body, we begin to see a past life, a simultaneous life, in which, you know, they are reliving that same suffering that caused that belief system. And I see this a lot with traumas, very deep traumas, like fear of water, fear of breathing, fear of any kind of profound traumas like that. They are embedded in the layers of the body. So to heal them, we have to first identify in the body what's happening and begin to dissolve in those. Now, this trauma that is embedded in the layers, the further out of the body, is also connecting to the network of the earth, remember. So we are cycling through this information because the same way we're cycling through the information, we're also cycling with other collective souls that are also contributing to the same dynamics in resonance, the same core beliefs. So this is why, again, we're put into our families, and you know, we have these traumas in our families are passed down through generations. It's one vibrational frequency, a specific signature of trauma that is passed down. And so to resolve that, we need to get to that root and just bring light to it, which means become aware of it. And that allows us to choose whether we agree with holding that suffering, holding that trauma in the body. Do you want to crystallize this belief system in the physical body that's causing you illness? That's the question. That's causing you blockage, that doesn't allow you to move forward in life, that does not allow you to love, to be loved, to heal. This is the process of alchemization, alchemizing all of these limiting belief systems that we accumulated from that 0 point of birth into this lifetime. And it doesn't end there, because this lifetime is the opportunity to access simultaneous aspects of ourselves in which we are repeating these. So when you begin to access these root memories, you're going to have available visibility into these simultaneous aspects as well. Okay, that's the profound healing. And the result of that, the result of this deep work, is that you no longer are triggered by the things that trigger you. Okay, and it might seem very complicated. It's like, oh my God, everything triggers me. Okay, but the core, remember, the core of that is that the human is experiencing duality, in which it's learning to experience love or fear. So this is the secret to this work, is that all the experiences in all of its infinite potential examples and events trickle down to these two choices. Are we experiencing it with love or with fear? That's the key to the alchemization process. It's to turn fear into love. That's how you heal. So many people ask me, well, I still don't understand. How do I heal? How do I do it? Well, this is how. All the things that you fear, turn them into love, and you will be on this process of alchemization. But it's not a false romantic sense of love. It's absolute truth. Seeing that shadow, watching the horrible thing that happened, that you experienced, and managing those emotions and shifting the way that we perceive things in a way that is expansive and constructive and aware of the whole. We even romanticize our own spiritual journey, and that causes a lot of suffering for people. They think it's wrong to feel certain emotions. They judge everything, and that's the biggest trap. So the idea is that in this process, we must come into a center point of neutrality. That's the key of the alchemization through the body, because through that 0 point is where we reach, this integration. So did I go back to the other page for you guys? Yeah, there you go. Okay. All right, so going back to this Dantian here, this is how we begin to access this cultivation of life force. Okay, so all of the emotions that we have are creation and expression, and creation and expression is what we're here to do. The question is, how are you doing it? And is it creative or counter-creative? So these are the questions that I want you to ask yourself for the next 24 hours until tomorrow, is to notice how many times a day are you creative? That means expansive, constructive. And how many times in a day are you destructive and counter-creative? Your thoughts, emotions, intentions. Understand that how we create in this realm is from the subconscious mind. That is what creates your resonance into this realm. Okay. All right. So that is today. So what I'd like to do is, I know that was a lot of information, and I want to give you some time to digest that. But let me come over and see if we have any questions. Hello, guys. Let's see if we have any questions here in the chat. Maria says, I claim strength. Grace says, balance. Yes, I always end my meditation on my lower back. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Anders, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Stone Hobbit, so great to see you. Kevin, must go sit in silence soon and go to bed. Much love, Kevin. Thank you for being here. Getting in touch with self and listening to where attention needs to flow. Yes, love it. Thank you, Geraldine. Thank you so much. I'm grateful for you too, Grace. Thank you for being here. A true master is triggerless. That's right. That's correct. Oh my, I needed this so much today. I am desperate for healing at this moment. Thank you so much. Much love, Tracy. I hope this helps. Neutrality, that's interesting. Often there's a focus on only love and light, but that maybe keeps the traumas intact. Exactly, exactly. And that's something that I noticed early on, that early in my journey, I tried to apply the concept of coming into love and light, but the fact is that we don't know what that is. We just know how to pretend that we know how that is. And I know that may sound perhaps cynical in some ways, but the truth is that as a product of social engineering, entertainment, we literally adopt the way we think we need to feel. For example, we learn by example from our parents and from TV shows, music, how we should express gratitude. We learned that. And what you'll discover sometimes reviewing, how you express certain emotions, that some of your expressions are not really genuinely how you really want to express them. It's just what you think should happen. So we are a ton of those kinds of examples. We have all kinds of things that we think we know. So it really requires us to really sit with ourselves and take a look at how we feel emotions. How do you experience love? How do you experience peace? What happens to you when you get angry? What happens to you when you want to say thank you? What do you do when you find something funny? Like all of those things we learn, and we just put these masks and we mimic things, So in reality, we need to dissolve all of those expectations and programs and start from scratch, the zero. What is your true nature, your authentic self? What does that look like? That's what you want to discover, because in that is where you're going to cut a lot of BS and crap and get to the core root of what you need. Because some people, they know very well these things, but I don't know, sometimes in order to go with the flow or to be accepted into some of these circles, they continue to play out their traumas and continue to play out suffering, because we are addicted to it unconsciously. So we need to break those dualities and get familiar with neutrality, because it looks like something completely different. And the human that emerges from that neutral authenticity is something completely different. But it is what all of these fake emotions, fake facades, fake ideas, and ghost-like masks of what the true expression is. But the human will only learn to express that when it really gets in touch with itself. So yes, thank you for that. How do we see fear as love to transmute disease? Doesn't the universe show us this in the 0 point? Okay, let me make sure I understand. How do we see fear as love to transmute disease? Okay, so what happens is that most disease is a result of stored fear and unprocessed fear. And again, we don't process fear in many different ways as a result of our traumatic experiences. Okay, just take a look at this. I mean, these are the thoughts and these are the emotions that result from these thoughts. So, how many of these make up your personality in your life and who you are? So it's really important that we understand our relationship with fear personally. And when you understand that, you'll be able to see how familiar you are with love. If you're not that familiar with love, if you find that you only think you know what love is, but you haven't really felt, expressed, experienced, understood it, and embodied it, then what you want to do is you want to fill the gap. You want to follow the emotional path of fear until you understand all of the emotions and their polar opposites. So if it's fear, okay, you know fear inside out, you know it. You know the emotions, you know how it feels, how you react, what happens to you. Okay, what would be the opposite of that? Okay, so it's going to be, you answer that in what you discover. And as you answer that question, keep going into every single one of those emotions until you understand your process at arriving at that answer. And what that will do is it'll take you through your own programming about love. You'll understand why you understand love in this way, and it'll show you where you're missing something. When we look at love, not this chart, but let me get another one that's more, let me see if this one. Yeah, so this is a good example, right? The spiral of how our life force moves through the body. For example, these emotions that are here, going all the way down to fear, this is literally a scale of how we store emotions. So inside worry, there's going to be discouragement, there can be blame, there's anger, there's revenge. And at the root of revenge, there's hatred. At the root of hatred, there's jealousy. At the root of jealousy, there's insecurity. And then at the root of that, there's fear, grief, depression, powerless, victimization. So always get to the root. It's the same thing with love, right? So let's say people feel content and they think that's it, content. But you can't stop there. There's more. So at the root of contentment, what is there? Why do you feel content? I would feel content because I feel hopeful, because I feel that I can be safe. Okay, well, what does it take for you to feel optimistic about things? Well, I need to be positive. I need to change my expectations. Okay, so all right, so the root of expectation, then what would that be? What do you need in order to change your expectations? Then to be your own source, of meeting your needs. Okay, so when you meet your needs, first you have to identify your needs. You'll notice that there's love. Your needs are love, your needs are protection, safety, acknowledgement, validation. Okay, so those needs you're learning. So this is how you learn how to get to love and how you specifically need to get there. It's incredibly important that every human does this, because without this, your neural pathways in your brain go from like, up here to here, and they don't, you don't understand how you process emotions. And when you go through these, you're also looking at the belief systems that are stored in your body, because every single one of those beliefs is stored in different parts of the body. So for example, that feeling of vulnerability, number 25 over here. Okay, in between the legs. So this vulnerability that we have within the body, for example, it's storing memories of things. So we have to learn how to access that, and we heal the body through that process. Now, your second question, doesn't the universe show us this in the 0 point? So the universe is an extension of ourselves. We are the universe. We are a fractal of this. The universe really is just the way that we perceive this realm. Okay. But we are infinite source, infinite creative potential, and you are a fractal of that. And within that fractal design is shown these different levels of this existence, and the universe is one of those levels. So it's not that the universe will show anything. You are source, so you have to channel as source your understanding of the whole. And when you come to the 0 point by dissolving the barriers that continue to make you see things as separation and duality, you become source and you begin to see things as unity. So this is actually you entering the 0 point, and you learn that by dissolving the walls of duality, as in fear and love. Does the time of class change, y'all? Yes, it's going to be different every day, Grace, just because my schedule. So please do check up for notifications. Lauren says, I have a rash on my armpits and body, must still be in fear of not saying no. We'll be doing an alchemical meditation today. Yes, we're going to get into a meditation. The more I do this work, the more I realize how much I was in a deep slumber. Thank you for providing us the practical tools to return to our natural state. You're very welcome. What about indifference? So indifference is kind of a paralysis state, because indifference is too afraid to look at truth, and also too afraid to acknowledge what you know. So it's important to understand that that state is kind of in limbo, in which you're not acknowledging yourself. Yourself knows. And we don't go into clarity about some things because we're afraid. We're afraid of the consequences of that. We think that we will be punished for our choices and for sometimes trusting our intuition, because we're afraid that if we do follow that intuition, we might come into danger, come out of balance. So just notice, the concepts of indifference is really a disconnected way to look at something in which something is not fully there. Neutrality, coming into true neutrality, is complete awareness of all without lying to yourself, without having to protect any part of you, or being fearful of this unknown all that is available, and still sustaining your balance. That's actually the neutral point. When clearing our auric field, as you taught in previous 30-day challenge, we visualize energy vortices around us and moving energy. Is this visualized as a third person perspective? I advise that you learn how to have both visions, internally and externally, like third person out. So as if you're looking at yourself, and as you're looking from within out. I advise you to exercise both, because eventually you will have both. That's a natural side effect of your intuitive expansion and activation. And it'll also help you learn a lot and see things about yourself that you might be missing. It's really powerful. Okay, so if we're challenged by something such as an interaction with an aggressive or challenging person, what is the process we should do to avoid creating new trauma within our body? Excellent question. So the first way to do this is to first understand your relationship with the trigger. Why are you triggered? What triggers you? How does that make you feel? What are the belief systems that are a result of those triggers? All of these questions are absolutely essential for yourself. And in order to understand, you know, why you have reached this point of reactivity, because what's happening to you is that you, at the root, there's a deep fear that you are unsafe. And so, what is the belief? Um, Essentially, the road to recovery from these triggers is to understand that regardless of what happens externally, that you are safe and that you are your own protector in any potential circumstance or anything that anyone does. So that's what we want to build towards or move towards. To avoid new trauma in the body is to be completely honest with your emotions and why you feel that way. That's really what it comes down to. Be honest with yourself. Sometimes we're addicted to reactions also, and we realize that that's not even really what we don't even really feel like we need to be angry sometimes. Sometimes we're just repeating things that we have learned to do. So you have to question whether it's true the way you feel. Okay, like for example, you have a program, this person says something and you feel unsafe. Well, is it true that you're unsafe? Okay, is it true in that moment that you are unsafe? And if the answer is no, then why do you believe that? And take a look at your relationship with your own trust in these experiences. Could you please add the size you used today to the website? Yes, I will. Absolutely. What does disease in gums represent? So every part of the body will basically tell you what's going on, but as a general rule, and please look deeper into this, the mouth, problems with the mouth and the teeth is about ancestral programs that are very difficult to break, usually around resentment, angers, and unresolved forgiveness in the mouth. So indifference, different than that, neutrality. Yeah. Okay, guys, let's begin with our meditation. We're going to start by inhaling deeply and exhaling. And we're going to breathe deeply into the base of the spine. Breathing deeply. With every breath you take, allowing yourself to go deeper and deeper into a state of complete relaxation, complete calm. Breathing. And we're going to focus on the root chakra at the base of the spine. Go ahead and visualize spinning this chakra as fast as possible. I'm just going to visualize releasing any heaviness from the root chakra. Breathing. You're going to go up to your sacral chakra. Go ahead and visualize spinning that sacral chakra as fast as possible. Releasing any blockages in the sacral chakra. Breathing. Breathing all the way down to the base of the spine. Allowing that belly to rise and fall. Okay, go up to the solar plexus. Go ahead and visualize spinning that solar plexus. Releasing the blockages in the solar plexus. And we're going to begin with going up into the heart now and expanding the heart chakra, opening the center of coherence. Going up into the throat, expanding the throat. Going up into the third eye, expanding the third eye, front and back. You're going to go up to your seventh chakra, crown, and your eighth. Go ahead and activate the eighth. Illuminate the eighth chakra. Fill it in with your creative color. Shifting from the karmic cycle into a state of co-creation. And we're going to set that into the seventh now. You're going to anchor that light into the area of career, abundance, love, consciousness, relationships, intimacy, creativity, sexual energy, creative life force, health, vitality, and finally your purpose. What are you here to do? Fill it in. Go ahead and begin to illuminate that seventh chakra nice and bright, activating your center for manifestation. From the center of the earth, you're going to visualize a powerful wave of green energy that comes rushing up into the body, creating a vortex of energy. Moving your vortex. Whatever breath works for you to move away these heavy blockages. Breathing all the way down to the base of the spine, feeling the rise and fall of the solar plexus. From source, cosmic energy, golden life force energy, bringing down through the crown of the head, combining with this green earth energy. Go ahead and mix those two. Okay, as you mix them, rotating. Go ahead and send 10% back down to the center of the earth. I want you to anchor cosmic energy down through the crown of your head, in through the core of your body, like a pillar of light, down the center of the body, down through the perineum, into the center of the earth, anchoring source through your body. Okay, go ahead and take your tongue and put it up to the palate of your mouth, up to the roof of your mouth, the tip of the tongue up to the roof of the mouth, breathing, opening that cycle of life force through the body. Breathing. Very good. So let's begin to work with the fields of the body. Let's start with the first layer of the body. Go ahead and visualize clearing that first layer of the body. Notice debris. Before we start moving life force in the body, we're going to clear and neutralize. So pull out of the first layer of the body. Breathing. This is the root programs, all programs in the root chakra around not feeling safe, not feeling embodied, not feeling welcome in this world, in this physical vessel. Any disconnect between the higher self and the physical, clear that out. Okay, go up to the second chakra now, clearing out all of those blockages that you see in your field around exchanges, relationships, sexual energy, stagnation, creativity, movement, shifts in your life. Clear that out of the second layer of your body. Okay, go up to the third layer of your body. Go ahead and clear the third layer. Programs around empowerment, anger, resentment, lack of forgiveness. Let that go. Clearing the meridian lines of the body, opening the gateways of life force. Very good. So as you breathe into the lower back of the spine, we're going to begin the massage of our lower body and the lower abdomen. So go ahead and take your dominant hand. You're going to put it over your lower hand and you're going to place it on top of your belly, the lower belly. And you're going to begin this rotation, clockwise rotation to the right. As you rotate the organs, as you allow that rotation to happen, I want you to gently move the lower back. You're going to focus on the psoas in the back of the lower spine. And with your mind, visualize twisting and turning that muscle gently, not hard, to allow yourself to begin to move and massage the energy in the lower back. So as you rotate with your body and with your hand, moving and gently massaging these lower organs to allow you to begin to release any physical stagnation in the body that has been stagnant. Breathing down into the base of the spine, allowing yourself to release any of that stagnation. Moving, gently rotating. You're rotating at the hips. Your body is rotating. The muscles internally are rotating using your mind, using your attention. And your hand is pressing in a circular movement, the organs internally. Now, when you do this, you are literally moving the stagnant life force within the lower part of your body. And this is usually better to do on an empty stomach, usually before you start your day and before you eat. But it can also help with digestion. It will open the pathways of digestion to allow you to begin to clear. Okay, if we have problems with digestion, it's because of the stagnant energy in these meridian lines. So with your breath, you're going to visualize that while you're twisting, you're allowing your breath to come in and move any stagnation in that lower part of the body. Okay, breathing, twisting and turning, allowing yourself to release any stagnation in that lower dantian. And what you'll do is you'll begin to feel the movement here in the lower back and the lower spine. And this is literally releasing from that lower part of the body all of this stagnation in the physical body. So we are moving and releasing from these lower parts of the body all of these programs that are stuck within these parts of the body. Worry, jealousy, resentment, anger, any of these emotions that are here within the lower part of the body begin to release from the body. And I just want you to be mindful of any thoughts or memories that come up as you are massaging your body. Any memories of triggers throughout your day, any memories or feelings and emotions that have come up this week. You're just going to rotate, allow yourself to clear out that root, sacral and solar, preparing that lower dantian for the cultivation of life force energy, so that now we can redirect our attention from wasting life force in unconscious expressions into a more conscious co-creation of your emotions. Okay, so activating that lower dantian here, as well as massaging those nerve endings to allow an opening of this life force cultivation through the body. Excellent work. So breathing deeply, opening the gateways of that life force. And we are literally opening the runways of life force in the body. So go ahead, and as you do that, as you begin to move that, the more emotions that you're releasing from this part of the body, you may feel soreness in this part of the body, sometimes immediately and sometimes tomorrow. So it's very important that you drink a lot of water after doing this exercise. Okay, so take a nice deep breath. Usually we want to work in rounds of 8 and being conscious of the breath as you come into the body. And want you to focus on releasing any heaviness that you feel in the back of your body. So we're going to go into our senses and sense anything that was released from the lower back. I want you to visualize vacuuming it out, everything that you just released. And you can visualize it going down the lower vortex into the center of the earth. Okay, right now you're running energy. So you're cultivating into this vortex of your own life force. You have green energy coming up from earth, and you have cosmic energy mixing and cleaning, neutralizing the body and the vortex. So as you allow the elimination of any stagnation that you just identified, send it down to the center of the earth. And you'll immediately feel a lightness, a release, an expansion. Excellent work, guys. And we're going to go deeper as we begin to see a room full of our karmic agreements, all of the agreements that are holographically projecting from our genetic data into these repetitive patterns. I want you to see them in a room and just allow yourself to visualize expanding them. Okay, and dissolving them. Go ahead and dissolve those contracts. As we open the gateways of creation, eliminating all of those karmic agreements to experience repetitive unconscious behavior. Clear it out. Excellent work. Breathing deeply. You're going to feel a powerful lightness, a release. Notice if you sigh, notice if you cough, notice if you sneeze. Make sure that your energetic field is completely intact. The sphere around your body is solid, grounding, protecting, aligning, co-creating. And your crown is in a state of powerful co-creation as you bring yourself back into the room. Go ahead and open your eyes. Excellent work. As you open your eyes, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This was a quick exercise for the working with the lower dantian. But what you're going to notice is the most important was the first half of this presentation, where we talked about how to cultivate that lower dantian. So I want you to review that information and apply it into your life, where you're being very mindful of your exchanges in order to cultivate and harness the balance and the empowerment that is available in that lower dantian. If essentially what results over the mastery over these first 3 chakras is an incredible empowerment And you'll notice that little babies, little children, they have such incredible condensed power in their solar plexus, in their center of their body. It's almost as if they move with the center of their body because that part is really activated for them. And they breathe and they cry from their belly. And that's all a result of this integration into the lower dantian. So we want to continue that practice now. When you begin to cultivate this lower dantian, you begin to feel empowered, and it allows and opens the gateway of the heart. And this is what we're going to talk about tomorrow. The mid dantian is the activation of the heart, the center of coherence, of expansion, of unity consciousness, which together, lower, mid, and upper, create the incredible activity of the higher faculties, intuition, self-healing, and many other superpowers that the human now has in order to navigate its physical realm, both in the physical and non-physical. So thank you so much for joining me. It was such an honor to be here with you, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Much love. Thank you for being here, guys. Bye-bye.